will sit at the same table, where the haves will see the have-nots, not as burdens, but as brothers, where class will not divide us, but conviction will unite us. I have a dream that the oligarchs will remember we must all eat, that the brown-faced neo-colonialists will remember who they are and whose they are. I have a dream that fraternities will build beyond internal architecture into a national bond, that the walls of design will give way to the bridges of brotherhood, not a fraternity of symbol, but a brotherhood of substance. I have a dream that we remain focused, that we stay in our conviction and remain fearless, that we double down, fortify.
Mic check 1, 2. Mic check. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. And we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I hope you're well out there wherever you are. I pray that all is well with you. Forgive us for the delay today. I think you had some miscommunication being able to get going on. So I hope everything is well. Hope you guys are good out there being able to jam on this beautiful Thursday. It's Thursday, 2026. Thursday the 23rd. We got 19 days before we can be able to dive into an election period. A lot of persons want to know exactly what's what. They want to know what you're voting. Who's getting your business, eh? My God, what are you voting? Who is it? So who are you going to be voting for, baby? I'm voting for Jesus. Behave yourself. You getting my business. So who you voting for? It sounds like you vote for them. Are you getting that? So who you voting for, baby? Who I voting for? I'm voting for Jesus. Amen? Yes. Peter had already come around. He was doing his campaigning. John the Baptist was here. I told him, Jesus got it. Y'all need to stop. It's too much. But it's here, man. We're beautiful. It's grateful to be in your company. Always grateful to be able to jam with you guys. It's a beautiful day. I want to be able to shout out to all those persons. Make sure you pick up your Guardian and your Tribune out there, wherever you are. Like I said to you, make sure you go down there and pick it up from Express Food Mart. They got everything available for you. They got 6 locations, I think, in Grand Bahama, or variations of the location. So you want to be able to go and check them out. I'm sure Sean is going to tell me more information about that. But wherever you can do that, make sure that you stay abreast for what's happening in the country at this particular time. There's a lot going on. Listen, man, we got to be able to find out exactly what's what and where we are in the country. Last night, you would have been able to see a couple events. They sent me one picture from Andres. I sure they was lying. They had to have been lying. They sent me a picture from Andres and say, this is the FNM's event. Why does people do that? Why wouldn't be able to make it seem so, you know what I mean? Like, oh my God, you wouldn't believe what's going on down there in Andres. These people have nothing, Howard. No, like you got to stop that. I just don't believe it. I don't believe it. I believe you took a picture at the beginning of the event and it grew. It had to grow. Talk to me. You would have been able to see those persons down there. And the PLP had their event last night also. That event, I was holding my breath because I didn't know whether or not they was going to go live on ZNS. They keep bumping me to be able to accommodate for the rally. So you don't see my show, but you see those particular persons being able to come on for the rally. And so I didn't know if they was going to do that last evening. But I got to hold my breath. I said, oh, Lord, I don't know what they're going to do, right? So we did a pre-recording, and then we did a show last evening. The shows was good. I had Leslie Miller on. And Leslie was also on for the pre-recording. We had great conversations. A lot of persons believe that it's this sort of an idea of being able to pull it through the lens of one political organization. But I've extended myself to the Free National Movement significantly and made myself available. Whatever our indifference was, I'm a consummate professional. This is what I do. This is my work. You understand what I'm saying? Like, this is not... I'm not doing this for games. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not doing this for kicks and giggles. I'm not doing this so you could say, oh my God, that boy could talk good, eh? Jesus. No, I'm not doing this. I do this as a professional. I study this thing. I commit myself to these particular things, and I do this as a professional. And so I'm out here being able to do this. I extended myself to the Free National Movement. In Grand Bahama, I have not heard back from, the only person I've heard back from is Frazette in Grand Bahama. And so I've reached out to all these people who I know very well, who knows my number, who knows me, who've contacted me in many instances and occasions. But you don't need my assistance, praise God. I would have seen some information floating over social media last night about an indifference that happened with a former member of parliament and a candidate for the Free National Movement down in West Grand Bahama. I don't know what to make of that. I was supposed to call this former member and let him give me the skinny and find out exactly what's what, but I didn't have a chance to be able to call him. But I will call him to find out what's what, because I'm not one of these people. I'm not one of these people who's go out there and, child, you hear? No, I don't do that. I call the horse, and we can hear it from the horse mouth. You see what I'm saying? I don't have the time for these particular things. You know what I do. You know what my profession is. You know the space that I sit in. You know what I do on a consistent basis. When I call you and we have a conversation, you know what the conversation is going to be about. We can hit you with the pleasantries at the top and say, hey, what's going on, man? How you, baby? How you cheering? How everything? How you feeling? You good? Praise Jesus. You're living? My God. So tell me about this. Boom, boom, boom. All right, let's get to it. Let's get to it. And let's find out exactly what's what, right? Let me see. Indecency on the People Good Christian radio station. Y'all texting me these things, right? See, I hear this one was trying to give advice to the next one, and they pass up on the advice. Yeah, you read the same thing that I read. You read the same thing that I read. And I couldn't give you no depth and information. I couldn't give you any depth and information as to what happened and what ain't happened. But I could tell you that we have attempted. We've attempted. We made our attempt to kind of find out exactly what's what. But I'll give him a call. I'm going to give him a call. I know him very well. I know his children, all of them, very well. And so I'd give him a call and find out exactly what's what and what's been happening in those particular areas. But I don't like to hear this, man. I believe that even that kind of a stench associated with it, I don't like to hear it, man. I might have to tell you the truth. I don't like to hear it. I think I tell you why I think that there may have been some kind of a smoke to fire. So I saw something on Twitter with a person who lives in Grand Bahama and said that a particular person was rude. I'm not going to call nobody's name. So when you're texting me, I hear what you're saying, but I'm not going to call you no one's name, right? Yeah, guys, if you want to be able to be a part of the conversation, I'd love you to do so. You can be able to hit me up. The numbers that you can call is 827-0111, 827-0111. We're live and in full effect, and we're also on Dove 103.7 FM in Grand Bahama as we continue to be able to jam with you and talk about these things. I want you to be able to be a part of it. If you're listening to me on Facebook, if you're listening to me on YouTube, or any other space out there, please let me know. Hit me up with a text. You could hit me up in the comments also. I'd love to be able to kind of engage you and have a good conversation with you about where we are from a national standpoint and where we are going. This ain't an easy conversation to have because a lot of persons are indifferent with that. A lot of persons are they're in this kind of a posture and position to say that, well, Howard, you should just let it be. Let me tell you something. That's not what I'm going to do, okay? That's not what I'm going to do. I'm not on a mission to eradicate and dismantle, and that's not my mission. If you've been listening to me, if you've been watching me, I criticize everybody and their mouth. Not in a bad way. Not in a bad way. I always give sort of constructive criticism, in my view. Yeah. I don't want to be destructive in my criticism. I told you about this. I told you about this. And there's just some things that people carry with them their entire lives. And it shapes them. It shapes them to, if they have aspirations to be a better person, they take into consideration some of the things that may have offended them. And they never wanted to deliver that to anybody else. I don't want to deliver the offense that I've navigated over the course of my life. And so I give you constructive criticism because I'm here to be able to make you to understand that, hey, there's a possibility that you consider moving in a different direction. But I will always say to you the positive that you're doing. I'll always say to you, I like this kind of an area. I'll always say, I respect you in this area. I think you're good in this particular area. But there's some things that you should consider in these particular areas. It ain't a hard thing for me. It ain't a hard thing for me. I tell you, all my life I've been a big fellow. Until you all see me running up and down on the Mall Drive in the early 2000s, running up and down on the mall drives, trying to be able to lose some weight. Right? Listen, I wrap up in all kind of clothes and this and that and going crazy during this particular time. Lost a lot of weight. You understand? But as soon as I smelled cookies, bang. So I didn't even eat the cookie yet. Right? I just passed the bakery and boom, the thing come right back. I said, oh my God, I can't even breathe in carbs. This is too much. All my life I've been a big guy. And there's no way I want people to be able, I want to be able to treat people with that level of condescension and this kind of irreverence and this kind of, this negativity. It doesn't make any sense to me. So in a political approach, as I approach this in a political conversation, I'll always be able to give you the constructive criticisms I believe you deserve. I got to say that. I'll always be able to give you the constructive criticisms I believe you deserve. Yeah, because you're better than that. You're better than that. And so, as I say this to you, I say I've called every single member of the Free National Movement in Grand Bahama. I have the receipts to show. I want to engage them, but it seems like they're living in a petty space. I just want to say that. Every single member in Grand Bahama, I've reached out to them and I've gotten no response, no reply, nothing. I can't be mad at them. I'm not angry at them or anything like that. I'm not angry with the people. But this is the course that they've chosen. So, this is how we're going to have to be able to deal with it accordingly. I've reached out to Kwesi. I've reached out to Omar. I called Omar 3 times. 3 times. And it seems as though, based upon language and information that's coming back to me, he's kind of hunkered down, bunkered in to his own mind and his own concepts for what his campaign needs to be for West Grand Bahama. Okay. I can't fight the man for that. Let him do his thing. But I'd like to be able to have a very clear conversation. I'm hoping to be able to have that kind of a conversation with Eddie. We've reached out. He's been able to, just kind of looking for the time that we can make that happen. I'm looking to be able to have a conversation with Dr. Pratt, Monique Pratt. I'm looking forward to that, actually, to be able to have a conversation with her. I'm also looking to be able to have a good conversation with Kingsley. Kingsley has been running to and fro, trying to be able to make some things happen in those particular areas. I reached out to Iram. Iram said that he wants to be able to be a part, wants to be involved. He's just waiting to get a couple of things done. Hey, listen, now we got 19 days. I don't know what else we waiting on. My God. I don't know what else we waiting on. We got 19 days to go. We ain't got much time. We ain't got much time at all. You got 19 days to go. And we're going to have to make a determination on what we do next. Now, it seems to me that money is playing a significant factor in the election. Can I say that? Is it okay? It seems to me that money is playing a factor in the way that candidates contribute, the way that they appear, the way that they approach these particular matters. It seems to me that money may be a factor. I don't know. I'm looking at both the Free National Movement and the Progressive Liberal Party, and I'm watching the Progressive Liberal Party make strides, leaps and bounds, and present themselves in these particular areas. But I don't see the Free National Movement being able to, as they would have done in the past, being able to match that in intensity, in presence, in articulation, in vision, in concept, in just being able to present themselves available, to avail themselves in these particular areas. Oh, Jesus God. I'm watching these people anyway. Guys, 827-0111, 827-0111. I'm just trying to be able to send these couple of things out right here so everyone could know exactly where we are and they can start watching. Check me out on YouTube, on Facebook, on all those particular spaces, and we could be able to have a very good conversation and look forward to it with you. 242 Foundation242.com, Foundation242.com, and they can be able to take very good care of you and jam with you in those areas. Davis, we're serious about immigration. Pintard, PLP, desperate to keep power. Desperate to keep power. This is in The Guardian this morning. Let's be able to read a little taste of this. Let me see if I can be able to read a little something for you guys. If you didn't pick up your papers just yet, and you need to know exactly what's what, especially those persons in the family violence. If you're listening to me and you don't know, if you're listening abroad and you want to be able to find out, let's read a little taste so you can see exactly what's what. Free National Movement leader Michael Pintard last night fired back at the Prime Minister Philip Brave Davis' assertion that the FNM is desperate. Those of you who feel that nothing will change by voting out this government, I'm saying you're wrong. Pintard told the crowd that the Free National Movement supporters during a rally in Mangrove Key, Andros, were not like them. When they came to government, some of you used to work in urban renewal. They fired you. This is what Pintard is telling the crowd. This is peculiar. This is peculiar. Urban renewal with the PLP start. Urban renewal that stopped review and cancel under one administration for the Free National Movement and all of a sudden revived it and recognized that it was a cherished position. Urban renewal who decided to be able to create an authority so you don't just stop review and cancel at any ebb and whim and flow. Listen to me, y'all need to stop this foolishness with this politics thing, you know. Just coming up here and just saying anything wild and expect people to just consume that. This is peculiar stuff. Let's just go. And then it says, we're not like them. Some of you guys were working to urban renewal. They fired you. He says, we are not like them. He said, those of you in Nassau, in Grand Bahama, let's go to A9. Let's go. Those of you in Nassau and Grand Bahama may be considering whether or not you're going to vote. If you remain silent, if you refuse to vote, you're going to leave this government in place. You're going to leave a government in place who is not interested in protecting our borders. They say we are desperate for power. No, they are desperate to keep power, and they are prepared to sell out the Bahamas. Pintard, this is ridiculous. You need to stop it. You need to stop it right now. Stop it. Okay? Stop it. Understand the office of your position. Understand the office of your position. Sir, you're not the COI. The Free National Movement has had power many a times in this country. The Free National Movement is identified as an organization that is revolutionary in terms of the introduction of these particular things that was stagnant for a long time under the first regime of the Progressive Liberal Party. The liberty, the freedom, and the access that was actually granted in 1992 that came in via the Free National Movement and in 1997 is something that was transformative in this country. Transformative in this country. Okay? You're not out here, you're not Cassius Stewart. Okay? You're not Lincoln Bean. You're not Ali McIntosh. You're not my good friend Omar Bradley Smith, in terms of when he was running in the House of Assembly, and him and Lincoln Bean, him and Cassius Stewart handcuffed themselves to the mace. That's not who you are. That's not who this organization is. Let's be clear about this now. Let's be clear about this. You're not even Bernard Nottage, who started the CDR. You're none of these organizations. You're not Branville McCartney, who started the DNA. You are not in a position that is an organization identified as an organization that tries. No one looks at the FNM and says, oh my God, it's so cute. Look how they're trying so hard. My God. Oh, let me wear one of their shirts. No one looks at the FNM like that ever. No one. No one looks at the FNM and says, oh, it's so cute. I like how they trying. My God. No one does that. There is an expectation of you and from you even before your victory. There was a standard. Before the victory of 1992, there was a standard that was held high. Cecil Wallace Whitfield. This party don't grovel. This party don't get in the mud with the swines. Proverbial or otherwise. The Free National Movement is held to a higher standard. It was an expectation for you to be able to perform, to produce, to provide, to bring proof, vision, concept, determination, galvanize your organization, empower them. Get this momentum moving from the potential into the kinetic. This is what the Free National Movement does. This foolishness, and I got to say this like this. This is garbage what you're saying, man. This is foolishness. You need to stop this. This is not who you are, and none of this information is factual. None of this information that you're putting out there, you're like, listen to me. I told you before that Lincoln Bain is crafty in his approach. Lincoln Bain knows that he has no money. He knows it. He knows it. Lincoln came out the other day and indicated that Sebastian had a $50 million contract with the government of the Bahamas. Then he told us that he was in contact with Sebastian. Sebastian didn't answer the phone, but he texted. How may I help you, sir? Say. He texted me, how may I help you, sir? Long story short, Sebas tells Lincoln, if you could find a $50 million contract, I will give you $5 million. Lincoln seemed like he leaned in to get the money. So he can distribute it to everybody in Pinewood. We watched the whole live waiting for the man to produce the information. Nothing. He waiting on the $5 million though. We know that Lincoln is crafty in his approach. He has to be. He has to create a diversion, a small fire. He needs to be able to cause you to avert your eyes from the two big machines. He needs you to stop looking at the Free National Movement and at the PLP. He needs you to do that. And the only way he can do that, he cannot compete in the same game as them. He cannot. He cannot compete with shirts. He cannot compete with posters. He cannot compete with any of the paraphernalia. He cannot compete with the number of persons that are getting up and putting on a black shirt and being able to go out and campaign with them. He can't compete with that. He can't compete. He cannot compete. He can't compete with a rally and being able to pull in 10,000 people tonight or 5,000 or 500. He cannot compete with that. He can't. Let's be very clear with this. Let's be clear with this. Because he knows that he can't compete and he finds himself in this kind of a position. Lincoln Bain will create a diversion. He needs to create a small fire for you to be able to at least focus on him for a few seconds so he could, boom, push his message on you. Just avert your eyes for 2 seconds. Boom, push his message on you. You have taken on a course and a pattern of being able to do the same concept and idea, but you forget about the institution that you're doing it by. This is not your own individual organization. This is an organization that has been enshrined in Bahamian politics. This is an organization that is highly respected in this country. Highly respected. Listen, despite the fact that people may not like the FNM, despite the fact that they may not be an FNM, the FNM is highly respected. By friend and foe, the FNM is a highly respected organization. There's nothing in the mind of persons that the FNM, if given an opportunity, cannot lead our country to where it's supposed to be. There's nothing in our minds. There's nothing in our minds that says that the FNM is ill-experienced and don't have the wherewithal to be able to lead the country. The FNM as an organization. The indifference that people have is being able to identify whether the spirit of the leader will cause the FNM and its mobility, its mechanisms to move forward. That's it. That's the question that is here. This question is not about the capability of the Free National Movement. In this dispensation, 19 days before the next general election of this country, in 2026, the question is not whether or not the Free National Movement has the capability, the wherewithal, the talent within their organization, the experience, the understanding of the serious nature of government business in this country. No one's questioning that. No one's questioning that. We know, just like the PLP, the FNM got a big tent. We know that. We know that. This question has never been, we have never placed one time a questionable position as to whether or not the FNM is capable of doing something. Not one time. Not once. The question always resides and has resided over the past few years, I want to say 5 years, as to whether or not Michael Pintard is up to the task. That's all this is. All this is. Whether or not Michael Pintard is up to the task. Listen to me. Michael C. Pintard, Clifton. Now, I know you may harbor some indifference for people, especially if you hear them speaking about you like this. I know you may be a little bit upset with people for not being able to give you this sort of a chance that you believe that you deserve. I know you may see this through the lens of political buffoonery and this narrative of being able to decisively and strategically be able to keep you down. I assure you, the PLP war room is doing enough to do that. This is not that. What this is a level of transparency. I sat down and I just started to assess it and I started to think about some stuff. I thought about you and I thought about me. I like to put myself in people's shoes. I thought about you, Michael. Mr. Pintard. I thought about you. I thought about the books that you wrote. I thought about the poems that you've done. I thought about this sort of an idea for the path of your life. And I remember myself in the 10th, 11th grade. And in the 10th grade in Haymarket High School, we have the responsibility of being able to identify the course that we choose. So whatever course that we choose, whether that's construction, whether that is cosmetology, whether that is business, whether that is whatever. You understand? Whatever the variations of courses that you choose, you would find out enough about this course over the next 3 years of your life. So 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade. Okay? And so you have to choose that now. And I made an assessment in the 10th grade. I did not know who I wanted to be when I grew up. I didn't know. People will tell you things, well, how would you speak good? You could be a lawyer. I didn't know that. I never thought about that. And I never saw myself in that particular capacity. Unfortunately, in the back of 8 Mile Rock, I just didn't see myself in that capacity. I see myself as a laborer of sorts. I see myself in leadership positions of sorts, but I didn't know the definition, and I never gave it any specificity. I never gave it any specifics. I never gave it any depth and detail. I just knew that the business division was crowded when I was in 10th grade. It was booked out. It was like the majority of the students in the school and the class all went to business. The business block was booked out. Now, I was a good artist. I had just gotten a B+ on my BJC in the 9th grade, right? Just got a B+. I thought I should have gotten an A, but nonetheless, I got a B+ on my art for my 9th grade art thing. And so Mr. Hodge and Mr. Burbal, y'all know Burbal. The name doesn't ring the same as it did when it was in grade 9. He was the head of he was one of the persons responsible for the art division. And so they keep telling me, Howard, now remember we're in grade 9 now. So this mid-90s, okay? This was like 95, 96, something like 95, right? So He says, Howard, we could fight for you and we want you to be able to be in commercial arts. Now, commercial arts in our community at that time is what Lightning did. Ladies and gentlemen, if you ain't from Abe Maroc, you don't know who's Lightning, right? Lightning would, all the boards and the posters that you see around the place, in 1995, there wasn't a space that you can go and get a 3D board or printing on a big canvas like this. It was just a board. The board was divided into these various small segments, and then you would paint the board various colors, and then you get the picture that you're looking for. So it was all paint. And the person who did all the graphics and the works and all these painting and everything like that, for the most part in West Grand Bahama, was Lightning. And then when you wanted to be able to get something different, as the years progressed, we went to Cheese and Pinnis Point, right? These are the people who we use, okay? And so in the 9th grade, when they said to me, Howard, you could enter commercial arts, it wasn't computers. There wasn't no graphic design. There wasn't no Adobe Photoshop. There wasn't anything. And I just knew that, I said, I don't know if I want to paint all my life. I think I want to do some other stuff. I just think I just want to do some other stuff. I did not take commercial arts. I did not do that. I chose, which was a very peculiar decision, but I feel like I could do it. I chose academic science. Academic science was chemistry, physics, biology, general science, things like that. And at best, I was a C average student. At best. At best, I was a C average student. I came out of school just shaving a 2.96. So I didn't even hit the honor roll the way I was supposed to. This is an honest conversation. I knew I had an opportunity to be able to go into commercial arts and come out of school to 3.5. But I knew that the skills that I was learning in commercial arts couldn't help me as a man. I knew that. I knew that in the 10th grade. And so I didn't choose the easier path. It was easy to make it. There was nothing to talk about. I could make an easier choice and be on paper. I show you I had everything, all the kind of a plethora of information and capability of doing all these things on paper. On paper. On paper, I would have been smart to you. Oh my God, you coming to school at 3.5? My God, you did so well, baby. Jesus, you smart, eh? Hercules, I don't know. I could have done that. There are many times I could have been able to pivot and go back to commercial arts. Mr. Burbal kept saying to me, and my friends kept joking with me over the years, right? Because his class used to be closed. He was the only class in Abe Maroc High School that was kind of closed up and had air conditioning. His class and Mr. Jones' class was the only two classes that used to be closed up. That's for a later conversation. Praise Jesus. So I could have made a decision to do that, to go back and just do something that's easy and get a light grade and just keep moving. I knew in the 10th grade in my life, I knew I had something more to offer to life. I didn't know what. I was never an introvert. I was always talkative. I was the head of the CYM. I was my class president in Abe Maroc High School. I was the class president, right? So I was the whole class president. And so I was always outgoing. I know everybody in my class, and everybody knew me, right? I was very talkative, right? I was always like an outgoing, boisterous type dude. This is just who I was. And I know that this didn't fit well with commercial arts. It's just this is not a part of my personality. It's a part of my creativity, but not a part of my personality and what I want to do when I'm growing older. I know that academic science will provide a challenge to me, and it did. I said, but what I could learn from academic science, I could learn how to apply myself in life. I promise you, from here to God, that's the decision I make. I said, so I'll have the base of whatever I need. If I decide to be a lawyer, if I decide to be, I know I ain't be no doctor because ain't nobody getting to school all this time to go look up and know people. I ain't all that. I didn't want to do it. I wanted to learn how to be able to pair my personality and all that this kind of was wrapped up in me into a profession. I didn't know how to be able to put it. Every year, I made incremental steps towards this goal, right? It's almost like when God says to Abram, go to a mountain that I will show you. What do you mean go to a mountain that I will show you? That means I have to keep going. And then when I keep going, you can eventually show me on this path. You would never say, go to Mount Sinai. Go to Mount, you know what I mean? Like he didn't tell him the specific mountain to go to that you knew that there was an end to this path. You just had to keep going to make a determination as he pleases to tell you, okay, now stop here and do this over here. Go over there. My life has been that go-to where I will show you. I promise you. I promise you that. But everything that I did it with this level of professionalism, knowing that there's something greater that must come out of this. And I worked at the hotel. I was the best front office agent. I know Trika Howard, not stop it. It was me and her. We was fighting for that all the time. It was me, then it was her, it was me, then her. Listen, these professionals. Anything I put my hand to, I knew I wanted to do it with excellence. Anything I put my hand to, I knew that I must do this with excellence because greater is coming. I knew this in my head from I was a little boy. As a young man, when TikTok first come around, when all these things first come around, and you start putting these things in all these little small slots and stuff like that, High Five and MySpace and all that, and people would just tag things and post it. I never put stupidity out into the world. Never. Because I always knew wherever this mountain that God will show me, it will reveal itself in due time and due season. And as a result of the revelation, I don't want my past to deter those particular persons who I'm supposed to assist, who's supposed to be able to come and support me, whether that's companies, individuals, so forth. Honest to God, I was thinking this the whole time. And if you was a part of the community like me, you go to people's church and somebody says, oh, God, oh, Jesus, come here. Young man, come here. Lift your hands. You know, when people at church I've been to, they say, lift your hands. I got my hands up, right? My mommy take me to this woman. She poured a whole oil on my head. Oh, God, I see money hey, Jesus, all over you, right? Listen, man. You go to these places, you get this kind of impartation of a word, and it says that something great exists in you. That was from I was a little boy. People was telling me this. From a little boy, people was telling me something great. Oh, God. My mother. I know God has something great for you because you was talking. You wouldn't stop talking from you was born. I'm trying to say something to you. All my Howard Ramado Grant life, all my life I travel with a very clear understanding. Listen to me. Even as I grow older and I was curious about life and love and relationships and women and so forth and so on, I knew I did not want to make a mistake. Come on, man, let's just be decent, okay? I knew I did not want to make a permanent mistake for a temporary pleasure. I just want to be decent with you. All my life, I travel with a clear understanding that God has called me to higher. Even in the midst of trial, tribulation, and sin, I knew that God was with me. Even in the midst of wrestling with depression, I knew that God was with me. I just waiting for him to show up. Lord, I guess there's something that you're teaching me. Praise God. I knew this my entire life. Michael Pintard is man just like me. Put on his pants. See me. He's put on my pants. 1 foot first. He's man. It means to tell me that in 2003, when you was in your 30s, you never gave consideration to the possible leadership that exists on your mantle. and you just release things to the world, and now you don't want to be held accountable for it. It is bananas to me. It is bananas to me. Bananas to me. That you refuse to be held accountable for your own words. You don't even, listen, man, you cannot deflect. You cannot deflect and dismiss. You cannot be flippant with this. You have to be able to own up to this. Yes, this may have been satire. I never write no satire. I good, you know. I used to rap with Mighty. Mighty, you listening? What's up with you? And Romeo, you all know Romeo. He has a couple of albums. Romeo went to Mark High School with me. Romeo, his name is Jug. We call him, that's his kind of a rap thing, right? Romeo Butler. Used to rap. Romeo, very good, you know, very good. Romeo called me Captain Hook. Anytime he needed a hook for his songs or whatever the case may be, he come check me out. I give him a little hook. Something, right? I made a hook, right? Christian rap, you know. Jesus, I can let you go, Lord. That's me. If you ever heard the song. I can let you go. He came to me and we did it. You could hear me on some of these particular things, and I deliberately and specifically did that with a subconscious understanding that the only thing that I do for Christ will last. Only what I do for God will last. And so as I seek to be able to ascribe, subscribe, apply my voice, my likeness to something that will be seen futuristically, when I see it again, it has to be able to bring a smile to me. I can't see it and say, well, this was a peculiar era of my life. And we're watching a grown man deflect, reject and deny a position that he would have taken in his maturity. I was married at 22 years old. When he was writing this book, I was just getting married. The reason I decided to get married despite the fact that there was a great deal of men in my society, all in the barbershop, all over the place, telling me, Howard, don't get married. What you got to sow your royal oats. So they tell me, sow your big grown men who married, you know. I never seen nothing stupid like this in my life. These demonic men telling me who need to, listen to me, I got to marry instead of burn. Because two ways I could burn. One, with passion and desire. Amen. I can't even get amen. One with passion and desire. And the next way is in hell. I don't want burn. I don't want burn. I don't want to burn. But I want to, you know, as I'm saying, I want to, amen. I want to enjoy and partake. But I want to do so under the law. The law that my faith requires me to follow. I got married at 22 years old. I'm going to be 45 years old this year. Been married forever. While y'all been shacking up all this time and then going to Bible study and singing in the choir, shacking up with the man, have 4 children with him. I can't get no amen. He got 4 children with you and 3 outside children. Well, he can't even call it outside because he ain't married. The whole time I was married. Let's just be decent as we talk this conversation. Let's be decent and have a very clear conversation. 22 years old, I decided to be able to get married because I understood something. I understood that whatever this thing is, wherever this mountain is that God is going to call me to and show me, I want to be able to sit back with someone that I love and someone that loves me and say, it's amazing the ride that we went through it. I want to be able to hold her hand and be able to sit with her and speak. Maybe I watch too much movies. Maybe this kind of an image is wrapped up in my head based upon the dramas and the comedy and the romances that I've watched over the years. Who knows? But it's in my head. And in my head, I knew I needed a partner to travel this world with. And I made a decision 26 years ago that I can get this partner. I wasn't even on the course for it. I thought I was in here to get some money and do some business. I'm saying something to you, man. Whilst Michael Pintard wrote his book, I got married. And I can never look back at the decision that I made 20 some years ago and regret that. Yeah, sometimes it's happened when row happened, when you heated, so forth and so on. I should have never. Yeah, you say these things and you say, God forgive me, I didn't mean that. I love the woman, praise God. But there's no way I could deny, deflect, refute the decision that I would have made in my conscious state before God and before man to step into. And there's no way that we can allow Michael Pintard, despite the fact that it's now only coming up. It may have never came up before. It may have never came up before. It might have been irrelevant the entire time. But today, the PLP unearthed it. And every single division of the PLP, read your book and study it. And they feed you your own words. And you come in here deflecting. You come in here rejecting. And you come in here being able to cast aspersions from an organization that's 50 years old who've done this before. An organization who understands leadership. An organization who has relationships the Caribbean wide and the world over. An organization in the head of this organization that led you to victory, which is Hubert Alexander Ingram, being able to step into 80 in a couple very soon. 80 years old, he's going to step into very soon. He's still being called in international markets for his advice, for their position, to help navigate these particular spaces, so forth and so on. And he's in his right mind being able to lend advice and give information the world over. And it all started right here in the Free National Movement. For him, it started in the PLP, in terms of his incremental moves, strategically identifying what he needs to do to get to a greater place. And he eventually got to that place, one with the Free National Movement, and he still has political collateral that is absolutely baffling the world over, while you relentlessly deflect from the exact same position, from the exact same spot where he came up with innovation, creativity, dived into a relationship, pulled people together, unified the organization. You sit in the exact same position and you relentlessly blame, you deflect. You deflect. He sat in a position, Lyndon Billinen fire him. When he fired him, he said, Perry, let's go. Perry said, okay, Bella, let's go. They opened up the little law firm. They said, well, let's me and you go, and let's put Brave in there, and let Brave do that, right? Then they swell Brave head up and tell Brave he could do all these great things. You could do great things here, Brave. You could be a member of parliament. Brave gone to Lyndon Billinen. Lyndon Billinen said, yeah, Brave, let me get you straight, right? Hubert and Perry decided behind Brave's back that we can keep Brave in the office and we can go do what we have to do. When Brave gone to get the nomination, he tell you all the story already. When he went to get the nomination and get himself prepared, former Prime Minister Lyndon Billinen said, oh, but they didn't tell you? He said, well, they didn't tell you? He said, who's they? The boys. So Brave said, who boys? He said, who boys? He said, the boys, they didn't tell you? He said, who boys? Perry and Hubert, they say they want you in the office. Brave said, what? He almost choked. He didn't believe the fella's gone, turned cat got on him. They turn to do what they want. Hubert Ingram went against, in the same breath, went against the Prime Minister and the leader of the organization, the PLP at that particular time, when Prime Minister and the leader of the organization, Lyndon Billinen, indicated that he wanted Sean McQueenie in the capacity of chairman for the organization. He decided that he wanted Buller, his good friend Buller, right? Hubert Ingram said, y'all go vote for Buller, right? Now listen, when the leader, even him, When he tell you he wants you on the ticket, he expect everybody to fall in line, but he didn't fall in line. See, that's what I don't understand. But one thing I don't understand with Hubert Ingram, he did these things, and he think history don't have it recorded. But when people do it to him, he fire and brimstone, he ready to be able to rain down upon you from a political standpoint. And that's okay, because he's a man. But the truth is that history has a peculiar way of being able to repeat itself. And let's just be very clear about what's going on. Hubert Ingram got fired from the PLP. Fired. Him and Perry Christie. Fired. They didn't know what to do. They started a newspaper called, Hubert Ingram more specifically, started a newspaper called The Beacon. And one of the writers in The Beacon was Aaron Kiki Knowles. Kiki should be in Freeport right now. I ain't talked to him in a while. They started the newspaper, they touched people, they did a great deal of things. Cecil fell sick, fell ill, he couldn't do it. They made a leaps and bounds strategically within the organization to say, let's be able to present this particular thing to Hubert Alexander Ingram for the possibility of being able to come over as leader for the organization. One thing led to another. There was a small caucus, bang-a-lang-a-lang. He became head of the organization. He didn't come in here rowing, and he came in here devising a plan, strategically identifying these particular things, empowering people, and got people to get up and go to do what he asked them to do. They found victory. You sit in the exact same seat, the seat of creativity, the seat recognized socially and nationally recognized by the country as a seat that victory is fond with. Victory is familiar with the Free National Movement seat. But victory only gravitates and is attracted to a victorious man whose posture is preparation, whose posture is understanding. Victory gravitates towards you when you're prepared. I just get preachy. I got to calm down. When you saw David was able to articulate as a child the steps that he had to make in preparation for the victory that he knew that was absolutely inevitable for him. He knew this. While he smelled like a sheep. Rank. Forgotten by his brothers and his father because he, in their minds, have been relegated to a sheep herder. There's no power and strength in him, not knowing what the task that he was taken through in preparation to get to this great space that God said, go to the mountain that I will show you. Here, David was going the whole time. The whole time David was going, the entire time David was strategically stepping towards the place that God had called him to, fighting with lions and bears and doing all kind of things like that. Singing to the sheep. This boy was crazy. He out here playing harps to the sheep. All these young girls, this boy ain't singing to them. He's singing to the sheeps and to the lamb them. There's something wrong with this boy. What's wrong with him? And people don't even worry about him no more. Just leave him over there. Just leave him over there. He'll be fine. And God called him. He didn't question it. He went out, bang, and knew that he was called for this. Victory, that magnetic nature, victory that's accessible to all, will only be attracted to those who are prepared. Hubert Ingram was prepared. Hubert Minnis was prepared. Lyndon Pinland was prepared. When you are not prepared and believe that someone is going to give you something because of some sympathy vote, because of some rhythm that exists in our society that you believe that you could lean on significantly and it will become your time, you will be sorely disappointed. And as I swim through the information, trying to find out whether or not preparation exists within you, I'm reading these things and I'm disappointed. As you speak to the people of Mangrove Key, who are well familiar with Grand Bahama and more specifically West Grand Bahama. You ever been to Mangrove Key? Mangrove Key, they got one curve there. You turn around, you swear you're in West End. Look just like West End. Let's read this. You may be considering whether or not you're going to vote. If you remain silent, if you refuse to vote, you're going to leave the government in place. If you're going to leave the government in place who's not interested in protecting our borders, this is a disingenuous position that you've taken. Because no one said anything about the $17 million that Marvin Deems is supposed to be able to get for the drones that were supposed to help us with the porous borders that exist in the country. It's very peculiar that you forget about these particular things and no one puts this before you. But go ahead, keep talking. And then it says, they say that we are desperate for power. No, they are desperate to keep power and they're prepared to sell out the Bahamas. That's this crew. That's very peculiar that you say that. Very peculiar that you say that. We commit to serving you. We are humbled by this opportunity. God has given us a chance, given us to change the direction, this country is going in. Pintar asks the supporters to vote for the party's candidates in Central, Mangrove Key, and South Andros. Julian Gibson. Julian, who tell the people, and when we, the PLP, win. I was like, whoa, Julian, what's going on here? He said, I'm sorry, I mean the FNM. Did you guys hear that? I'll play it for you right now. So it says, the Free National Movement leader also slammed Bahamas Public Parks and Beaches Authority Executive Chairman Mikhail Barnaby, who has come under fire in recent days over the $141 million spent by the authority in less than 5 years. You saw recently that the outgoing member of parliament for Mount Moriah, I believe that he spent more than $141 million, Pintard said. Now, let me just tell you about something about how the PLP does count. Okay, go ahead. He says that if you hear them say that they spent $141 million, you could bet your last dollar on it that they spend much more than that. I gotta. He says, they spent it, they said, on beaches and parks. I remember another fellow who used to be in charge of the beaches and park. Man, the country, New Providence, used to be clean. But this new fella coming here, he come in there like he doing something. In fact, every time you see him, he's engaged, enraged that he didn't make it to the cabinet. Oh man, this campaign needs to be over. This electoral period needs to be over. It's an exhausting experience. It is showing you the worst of men. When you feel like the walls are closing in, unfortunately, this is showing you the worst of men. And I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to read this like this because this information is peculiar. When there were murmurs, allegations, speculations that floated around the country about the possibility of being able to see your deputy, Shannon Cartwright, stand before the courts because of the potential overspending, when the former prime minister, the information that was presented to him, and he backed off from this particular thing, and Shannon had no shelter. Shannon indicated in his particular capacity that he just take directives essentially. And that he's told to do these particular things and he does what he's required to do based upon what he's told to do. And Mikhail Barnaby, it's peculiar that he found himself in this position. Because Mikhail Barnaby was one of those persons who indicated that we're going to be able to ensure that there is an audit done, that everything is taken care of. I had a good conversation with Mikhail. And as we look at this, I'm disappointed in all and sundry. I'm disappointed that you would be able to unearth this and bring this in this particular light. Knowing that you said nothing about Marvin Dames and the speculation existing associated with that. the 440 pounds of cocaine, knowing that you said nothing about that. We don't expect perfection. We expect transparency, though. We expect honesty. We expect the pursuit of righteousness. Sometimes it ain't always could be the acquisition. It ain't always could be the capturing of it, but it's the pursuit. In the pursuit of righteousness. And any time that you fall 70 times 7, you could get up and dust yourself off and continue to be able to pursue righteousness. And remember your last step, and don't step back into those landmines anymore. That's not happening here. There's a total ignorance, a total rejection of the idea that you've made mistakes in the past, and a significant concentration on identifying the indifference or the tribulation that this particular person has suffered right now. And I think that that's just poor. It's poor. It's poor. I hope you all could understand me. I tell you all these stories to make you to understand that this ain't about being able to pull down Pintard. Pintard has to have a conscious understanding of where he sits. If I sit at the head of the Port Authority, if I sit at the head of BTC, if I sit at the head of Cable Bahamas, if I sit at the head of Alive, if I sit at the head of the government in this country, if I sit at the head of the Free National Movement, if I sit at the head of the Progressive Liberal Party, if I sit at the head of KPMG, if I sit at the head of any of these particular organizations that's established and identified in this country for being able to produce at a particular caliber, they expect me to conform, comply, and be able to commit. That's what their expectations are. In fact, I can't get the job without being able to acknowledge confirmation, compliance, and significant commitment well into the future. Michael Pintard has gotten this job and he has not conformed, he has not complied, and he has not committed himself to the futuristic growth and development of the Free National Movement. There is a desire that he will not be a laughing stock. That's all his desire is, that no one can laugh at him. No one can say he didn't do this. No one can say that. So he's trying to be able to prove an individual point. And as a result of that, the entire organization, trust me, if you do not win the government of the Bahamas, those same MCMs and other members of parliament who continue to, and other members, whether that's members of parliament or whether that's members of the organization, they are going to say to you, we knew that you didn't have it in you. The same people that you ostracize, the same people that you reject, the same people that you left out in the cold, the same people that you said nothing to, that you didn't incorporate them, the same people that you have decided to be able to kind of cut off because of their former allegiance and affiliation with the organization. You, who came out of Minnis Cabinet, decided you don't want other members who was in Minnis Cabinet to be with you. I don't understand this. I don't understand it. The party is fractured, the party is broken, and the party doesn't have the leadership that it is familiar with. Not the leader. That's two different things. The party doesn't have the leadership that it is familiar with. Not the leader. I could take over your job and you still know that there is a level of leadership. Wherever I was before and I produced in those particular areas, now that I'm in this kind of a space, there is a level of leadership that you expect me to be able to, that runs with me, just like goodness and mercy shall follow you all the days of your life. There's a level of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that's a divine thing that follows you when you step into these particular roles because you are a leader. This glorified manager, glorified chairman, posture, and post is a whole different story. Guys, let's take a quick commercial break. Down there, if you're out here and we're jamming and having a good conversation with you, I'd like you to be able to join me, 827-0111, 827-0111, as we continue to be able to talk about this. Oh, don't fight me, man. Oh, my God, how would you taking this man, baby, to work? Oh, God, how about why you doing him like that? Let's talk, man. Let's take a quick commercial break, guys. And be right back. Let's be right back after this.
I have a dream where the powerful and the powerless will
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. This is The Foundation with Howard Grant. Grateful to be in your company. Always grateful to be with you. Jamming out here as we deduce, dissect, and really, I guess, project an idea of our expectations for leadership right across the board. Having a good conversation, guys. If you want to join me in conversation, I'd love you to do so. You can hit me up on 827-0111. That's 827-0111. Right here, we are in, we're live in Nassau, so you can be able to hear us directly from Nassau if you're listening in. We're live in Nassau, and we're being able to push out directly to Dove in Grand Bahama, so you can be able to hear us in Dove on Grand Bahama, and we continue to be able to talk like that. So just tune into Dove and tune into these particular spaces. If you want to be able to be a part of the conversation, I would love you to do so. Hit me up, 827-0111, 827-0111. I've been around by my house when I wasn't home the other day, and I'm not going to read this, okay? I'm not going to. And somebody say, you sound like a COI. when I said I ain't interested in any of the two parties, and there ain't no other options. It says I almost forget I was a Christian, and I cuss her off my porch. This is a heart they talking about. I ain't gonna tell you who, but there's a desperation that exists in there. There's a desperation, and yeah. No. I laugh when you send it to me. The person texts me. I laugh when you send it to me. Right? There's a couple texts here. It says, let me see if I can read this. Oh, they sent me some stuff. I can't believe these things. It look like people cussing on these things. Good afternoon, Howard Grant. The FNM doesn't have any serious funds to facilitate elections because on the campaign trail in 2017 election, the Free National Movement to cut back on campaign funding because the FNM have over 50,000 core supporters that always vote FNM, no matter what. From 2007 election is being happening. So once the FNM can get 10 to 15,000 extra voters, they don't need to spend no big money on the campaign trail because they can manipulate the 15,000 extra voters without spending no big money on the campaign trail. That's my opinion. I could be wrong. No, I didn't let you wrong, It's just that I went out the other day. I have breakfast here in Nassau at a place called Garden of Eden in Nassau. I told you about Garden of Eden. It's out there on Prince Charles, right? So right at the end of Prince Charles, almost just before you get to like the beach area, you take a left right there by Elizabeth Estates in Eastwood, and then you find yourself right there by Garden of Eden. My very good friend Ephraim Jones. He's a very good friend of mine, right? Older gentleman, and I go there and I just sit down and talk politics with him. And so anytime I could be able to sneak out the house, I go out by Ephraim and sit down and talk politics with him. So I went there the other day, and Ephraim had some nice potato bread, and he gave me some stew fish, right? Grouper. I like the meat, right? So we go on grouper meat, potato bread, and I'll get Johnny cake. So I sat there and we just talk, and he ate, I ate, we sat down, we talk politics. And so I was there for a few hours, just being able to relax. Now, normally, I would bring home a little something for my wife. And she did, like I tell you, she's different. She wants something new, right? Yesterday I went out and I was invited to lunch, and I brought her home some lamb chops. Her mother already didn't start salivating. She, lamb chops. Yeah, she liked things like that, right? So I normally go to Ephraim and I bring her like a sheep tongue. She like little exotic things like that. She wants boiled fish. She wants sheep tongue. She wants something like different, right? She didn't want the old regular stew fish what I like. She wants something different. Okay, no problem. And I done that, and she had gone somewhere in the morning, and I went somewhere. All right. So times we get back home together, she looking all in the fridge. She looking all over the place. So I said, "What happened? You didn't bring me anything. I normally bring her something, You didn't bring me anything. No, I didn't bring you anything. You didn't bring me anything." I said, "No, I didn't bring you anything. You didn't bring me anything? Baby doll, listen, I didn't bring you anything. No." The issue that we're having is that there is a familiarity and an expectation of a rhythm that exists, and people expect you to perform like you've always performed, despite the fact that there's things that changed. The things that changed. Now, there's nothing changed in our relationship. I decided not to bring her anything because when I tell her, let's go, let's go. I can't hear no amen. When I say, let's go, baby, let's go. You can't expect me to go and then come. No. I tell you, let's go. You ain't want to go. But you want me to? No. I deliberately didn't bring her something this time. And guess what? Ephraim said, "Howard, you going to carry something for your wife?" I said, "No." He said, "No, Mine, when she asked me if Howard was up here, I can say, I don't know where Howard was. So I laugh, right? I laugh. I say, Ephraim, I'm not carrying that for her today, right? When we went there I think I took Mommy there when Mommy was here. When we went there with Mommy, right? And he said, listen, Madam Grant, I told Howard to carry something for you the other day. I said, Ephraim, she didn't ask you that. Why you have to tell her this? What you doing? My point to you on this particular point here that you say is that you can't lean on the expectation, and people will respond to you based upon their expectation. The Bahamian people from the UBP time have been conditioned to accept something during the election season. Oh God, I just get preachy. You gotta calm down. The UBP came for your vote, brought flour, brought rice, brought maybe a chicken back, brought something. The PLP identified that. They came around, they brought you something, they put something in your hand. Years after that, the PLP recognized what you want and they put something in your hand. You were identified as a good MP in Christmas time and in summertime, in the Christmas time, when you bring a little ham and turkey, and summertime, if you give the little children little books and pencils and so forth and so on. They gauged your commitment to the community and accessibility based upon what you brought to them. If the Free National Movement don't have no money and they expect you to just vote for them, they never give you nothing, they keep telling you they work for you, how they can work for you, you didn't hire them, you just fired them. I just fired you, I continue to work for me. You told me it's the people's time. Then your leader stand up and say the next time for the poor. Oh Jesus, I thought we was a part of the people. Being a part of the people, what people you was talking about? What people you can talk about? The next time for the poor. That's what your leaders say. Now you come and say, we work for you. Work for who? You didn't work for us the last time. You didn't work for us the last time. You lock us down. But when they wanted to bury a dog, I can't get on you, man. When they wanted to bury a dog, you gave the people an opportunity to go bury their dog. So whatever disparity that exists between the us and the them, you obviously knew who the us and them for. You say it's the people time. I thought everybody was the people. And you said the next time for the poor. Now you want an opportunity. And say we work for you. You've never worked for us, sir. It's all fallacy. Fictionalized. Fabricated. Foolishness. That's what it is. Inappropriate for this dispensation. You rejected this sort of unstoppable and gone, well, we work for you. Work for who? You work for me? I never hired you. Never hired. In fact, we fired you. And you thought by getting rid of Dr. Minnis, that was the problem. The FNM had made a grave mistake by being able to have Dr. Dwayne Sands stand up and say, we are going to oust Dr. Minnis out of the party. That was a grave mistake that he made. It was foolishness that he did. Don't allow your ambitions, the idea of a position and what you feel in the back of your throat to be inevitability of stepping into that position to cause your mouth to say something stupid. I just want to be decent with you. That was absolutely unnecessary and uncalled for. Anytime I round with my wife and she does something that I see familiar, right? I see it as familiar. I maybe see my mother would have done it. I maybe see my grandmother would have done it. My aunt would have done it. I may have seen a woman do it on television. This is familiar. It's a familiar thing. And we having a dispute. and I say something like, y'all woman, oh, the whole row change. Who's y'all woman? Which woman? How much woman you have? How you could put me in category with any other woman? Who's y'all woman? That's what's happening here. You lumped into something that ain't got nothing to do with you. The Free National Movement has lumped their aspirations and ideas and said some stuff and did some stuff that really changed the course of the conversation, and it didn't have anything to do with the objective. To stand up there now in the middle of a battle royale, to find yourself in a position of being able to acquire or be denied an opportunity to lead this country once more, you decide to be able to shift your focus right after you fire the man. You didn't fire the man. You didn't fire him. He fired. Al-Luqaya fired Howard. Fired. Bang. Okay, Howard gone. Howard taking care of doing his own thing in life. Then Al-Luqaya say, Howard should never have an opportunity to do this as a private citizen. Sir, how did you get in my business? How did you get in my business? I can't do what as a private citizen? Are you wilding out? The Free National Movement seeks to be able to travel behind like a shadow. Dr. Minnis, and say what he shouldn't have. You waste your time, you waste your effort, and you're losing support. Granted, I can be honest with you as I say this to you, and I'm hoping that the right people are listening also. There's a level of arrogance beginning to bud and find itself cracking through the soil of the Progressive Liberal Party. Not the official organization, but those persons who support you, who are identified by the organization, acknowledged by the organization, whether formally or informally. They are allowing the sprouts of arrogance to be able to rise above the soil. When we couldn't see it, it was confidence. Now that we could see it being able to take its own form and shape, it is an undeniable arrogance that is being formed and blossoming in small patches in the PLP. This kind of a, we got it, we win, it over kind of a posture is very silly. It's foolish. And Bahamian people just need to feel like you are elevated and that we have an obligation and an undeniable position to have to vote for you. You got 20 days to go. Don't get arrogant. This could go either way, you know. Bahamian people really don't care about these elections, you know. Because the truth of the matter is what? They still got to go get a job. They still got to go to work on the 12th and the 13th. They can't even party with you because work on the 13th. They still got to work. They still got to pay their bills. They still got to figure out which bill to put something on the arrears this month because we can't eat if we pay all our bills this month. They still got to go through that. They still got to figure it out. They still in this food store with their calculator and they blinking and talking to themselves through the aisle, trying to figure out, didn't the VAT just go off on this? Jesus Christ, how does this get so high? They still got to figure this out. They still got to figure out and calculate, well, how much $5 could carry me? $5 could carry me home and to work and back home, and I should be able to find $5 between now and then. They still got to go through all of this. Bahamian people don't care who win. Not really. If you boil down to it, they don't care. For those of us who paying attention, we know, okay, this one is more suited for the situation. This one ready to jam. But really, nobody care about that. How many people in Nassau, when you slide in one of these holes and ram, you break your front end and all your tie rod and all these things like that. Ain't nobody paying for that for you. Got to figure that out yourself. You still got to go to work. While you're in your PLP shirt or in your F&M shirt, nobody is trying to take care of you. You got to take care of yourself. Very many people have come to that conclusion. In the midst of that, they're making their decisions. They're making their decisions to choose one or the other. Brave got some great promises, some great plans, great continuation. The Free National Movement got some things that I ain't never hear and see in my life. I can't lie to you. I can be honest with you. There is ambitious and there is astronomical, fictitious, and I don't know where to put the F&M's plans. It's somewhere in the middle there. Between extremely ambitious and astronomical, fictitious. I think that the F&M plan sits in the middle, like, nestled in the center of that. This idea of an organization who fought back with the church and fought against the government and their institution, and this sort of an idea for the referendum of the gaming resolution or the gaming referendum, being able to lock hands with the church and all these particular things, now taking on this posture to say that we are going to get national lottery. Your convictions waver. You're not steadfast in your particular convictions and your commitments to do these particular things. You just going with the flow of the moment. You don't stand for nothing. You don't mean what you say. You say it, and if it sounds good, we'll say that we're doing it. We're watching you all, you know. We watch you all make promises and promises. And as soon as you get in, you say, well, you know, we was going to try to do it, but, you know, the cookie jar is empty. We can't afford it. Sir, we couldn't afford it then. But you promised that you was going to do it. You made no attempts to get this done. I see Matt Arbery in his particular capacity has continued to be able to talk about the Organization for Responsible Governance and what they should be able to do with the Freedom of Information Act. I see Dr. Naomi Campbell Hall. She got but 6 or 7 last name. Dr. Naomi Campbell Hall Bain. I don't want to mess it up. I know it's something like that. She is responsible for repatriations and there's sort of an idea of being able to identify these particular things. There's so many persons. You see Dr. Nakia Forbes in her particular capacity celebrating the idea of almost low to no transmissions with HIV. There are so many things that's happening throughout the country. There's so many things that's happening throughout the country. Civic organization and other people are still working and doing what they have to do. The F&M comes in and the PLP comes in and indicate that we're going to support this, we're going to support this, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And then when they get in, they forget about it. Well, we didn't have enough finances to be able to do these things. We didn't have enough finances. The Freedom of Information was an idea that was brought forth by the Free National Movement in its term. It was introduced in 2012 with formality to the country by Granville McCartney, the ombudsman of freedom of information and fixed terms for prime ministers, was articulated significantly during the DNA's run for office. That's what it was. Let's shoot straight and let's talk about these particular things, Evie. See, it's easy for you to say these things, but we got to talk with clarity, man. We got to talk straight. We got to talk straight. We got to identify these things. We got to talk straight. Now, it may be an easy thing for you to just have a casual conversation about, but there is a truth that exists here. We don't believe you. I don't believe you. I don't know if other people do. I don't fight Michael Pintard or Dwayne Sands or Shannon Cartwright as individuals. I fight you because you don't know what you're doing in the FNM. You don't know the value that people place on the Free National Movement for you to be able to run in this like this is your personal, like, you remember the movies like Dennis the Menace and others, that the boys would have their own little small boys club and, no, you can't get in. And, there was this sort of an initiation for you to even get into these particular spaces. You run it in like your own little small club, and the expectations that you exist in these, not taking no consideration into the Constitution that stands, taking no consideration into the foundation of his day, taking no consideration into the path that was already etched for the Free National Movement to take as it relates to national growth and development, take no consideration into these particular things. And it has deviated twice now. With the introduction of Hubert Alexander Minnis, it went off course, kind of teetered off course. Now, we can't even say that with clarity. How much off course, simply because he was dealing with the twin pandemics, with Hurricane Dorian and COVID-19. Unmatched. Natural disasters. Global positions that has happened. And I think that his campaign and the issues that he suffered, or the issues that he was dealing with, would have suffered significantly as a result of that. But he was on course to be able to take the FNM off course. Let's just be very clear. Okay? The tenets, rules, regulations of being able to identify the talent that exists in the organization have been rejected by Hubert Minnis. Being able to identify people unqualified in the organization and putting them to the forefront, causing a great deal of turmoil. You identify what that turmoil is. I'm telling you what it is. The vetting process to make a determination as to who goes where was rejected by the organization, and the supersession of being able to serve at the pleasure of the leader was implemented. And now you're serving at the pleasure of the leader, and you have no accountability to answer to the board that exists in these particular space. To answer to the board that sits in these places to ensure that there is a smooth sailing with or without you. And as soon as Minnis goes, everything falls apart. I still say, you was wrong for doing it the way that you did it. You did it, you yucked the band-aid off, Minnis had to go, okay, praise God, he gone. You should have leave it right there. You keep following behind him. You ask Ben Simmons to say something. You're running behind the man. You ask all these things. Then all of a sudden, Desmond Bannister got to come out. You all are divided in the organization. You are divided in the organization. Divided. That's what it is. How can we choose you? How can we trust you? How can we believe you, and you can't show us you straight? How? How can we trust you? Not that you can't be trusted, you know. You just have not yielded and shown the evidence that you can be. We're watching you. We are watching you. And with every grace that we've extended to you, every grace that we've extended to you with an expectation that you would perform in a particular manner, you have let us down. I continue to pray for you all because the organization, whether I'm in it or not, whether I support you or not, really has a significant position in this country. The organization has a pillar. And there's a great deal of people that support the organization, and the organization has done a great deal of good for the country. I got to tell this woman come in. She out there looking at me. She thinks cameras all over the place. She just needs to calm down. The organization has done good for the country. It has. And it has done better for democracy, being able to give people a choice. Historically, at least. Currently, that's questionable. Historically, that's undeniable. Historically, you've been able to give people a choice. Currently, as we look at the Free National Movement, we can't make a determination as to whether or not this is a choice. We're not necessarily in that kind of a position to say that this is a real, undeniable choice for the Bahamian people. We know that you are for the opportunity. We know that you are in this kind of a position that you can do that, but the truth is, we don't necessarily believe it is. So, I'm hoping that the organization is not deterred. I'm hoping that the mechanisms that are designed to be able to ensure that the momentum, that the morale in the organization is kept afloat, is kept buoyant, and that we can be able to, persons could be able to identify this, just as the PLP would have done in 2017. They identify the areas. You do a SWOT analysis in the event that you lose. I didn't say that you're going to lose, but in the event that you do lose, you do an internal SWOT analysis. You identify your strengths, your weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats. And then you dissect it and make a determination and say, hey, listen, as a result of these particular things, I think we lost support here. You did bad, man. You did horrible with ensuring that there was a true sense of fluidity, accessibility, and unity in the organization. That's it. People want to feel not fractured. There should never be a conversation within your organization that says Nassau-centric. There should never be a conversation to say that y'all is be able to hound or hoard the information in Nassau. There should never be a conversation. We are in an age, you are listening to me as I sit in Nassau, live on your radio in Freeport. And with a couple more dollars, I will be live in Abaco, live in Exuma, live, all from Nassau one time. All from Nassau one time. You mean to tell me you can't unify your organization like this? You can't pull the people together in your organization like this? What are your thoughts? In retrospect, as I look back, I know I was vying for the chairman's position in the organization some time back. But in retrospect, I look back, the F&M wasn't ready for a fella like me as chairman. Not in a bad way. It wasn't ready for me. I didn't talk about how we can connect the islands. I didn't talk about how we can do this. I didn't talk about, and if I instituted these things, you could see something different. Jesus, this boy doing something different. So there's a fraction that didn't, hey, listen, bro, just stay over there with your fanciful ideas. Stay over there. Okay. I ain't got a problem with that. But the PLP is leading in youthful attraction right now. The PLP is leading with people, young and old, gravitating towards them right now. The PLP, as a result of the magnetism and the momentum that they've sparked in this country, got young people all across this country making TikToks and other social media little small skits for the organization. They ain't get paid. Nobody asked them to do that. They entertaining the whole country and saying PLP all the way. The PLP has done that. If you contrast the crowds, the F&M always had a youthful crowd, not no more. You could tell who interested in who. You look all over the TV. You see the girls them showing you their talents with all the sewing. They showing you the different designs that they were done, making dress, making a jumper suit out of the clothes, making this, making that, and all these things. That you can't even see a puppy wearing the F&M shirts. and you don't believe that perception is reality. Perception is reality. That's why you need money for a campaign, because you got to be able to build, produce, and project your perception of what you want people to recognize and inevitably and undeniably step into your reality. All of this, I could have dreamed about this studio and this about this radio station and this idea for this show. It only would be a dream if I didn't have $1 to place towards working the labor to ensure that I could bring it to the forefront as reality. You could deny money all you want, but money answereth all things. Amen. Praise God. That's the show today, guys. I want to thank you so very kindly for being able to tune in with us and jam with us right here on 103.7 FM in Grand Bahama Dove. Hope you guys are good out there. And Foundation 242 all over social media handles and whatnot. It has been a wonderful thing to kind of jam with you. I hope that this is not too much for you to kind of consume. And if you want to be able to, like I said, leave me a note and let's talk about these things, I would love to do that with you. Let me see if I can check it out. Hold on, let me just pause this right here and see if I can look and see if you leave any other text. All right, hold on now. Hold on. Howard, I am on TikTok, and there are many videos with young people promoting the PLP, and those videos getting thousands and thousands of likes and views. I'm telling you, that's the truth. Nobody paying them young children for that. That's what momentum is due to you. They want to be a part of you and part of doing what you do, because everybody likes a winner. Everybody likes a winner. Winner, chicken dinner. Let's do those things, guys. Going to see you tomorrow. God spare our lives right here on The Foundation. Have a great day, guys.